Hello friends, I'm Casey Slate, a video editor and educator, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you an update on my health journey with rheumatoid arthritis. So I'm going to share with you about the medications that I've tried so far. So I was diagnosed in January of 2024, and right now, as I'm making this video, it is April. I just want to give a disclaimer before I get started and talk about my particular journey, because I want you to understand that everyone's experience with medications and treatments are different. There are a long list of side effects for the medications, but that doesn't mean that you are going to experience all of them. For some patients with RA, they don't experience any of the side effects, and sometimes we do experience some of them. I just wanted to give a disclaimer first before I talk about my journey, because yours might be different than mine. You have to go into it with an open mind and think, this may or may not happen, and I'm just trying to find the best treatment that'll work for me. The first medication that we tried was methotrexate, and I had an allergic reaction to it. My face and my lips were swollen, and so I took some Benadryl and it went away, but we discontinued methotrexate. The next treatment I tried was Enbrel, which is an injection that you give to yourself. It took about 2 weeks for insurance to approve it, so I had to wait a while to try the next treatment. I got to experience firsthand what it feels like to not be medicated or what it feels like to not have a treatment. Once I started the treatment on Enbrel, I could notice a difference. So Enbrel is given weekly. It's self-injection, and I took Enbrel for 5 weeks. The first 2 injections, I didn't have any site reaction at all, so it was great. The third was minor. It was about 48 hours after the injection, it got a little, like the site got a little hot and a little red, but it wasn't anything major. And then the 4th injection was a little bit more intense as far as the site reaction. And then the 5th injection that I took of Enbrel, well, I always take it at night because it makes me a little sleepy. By the next morning, on the 5th injection, I had a major site reaction. So it was an immediate bruise, and then the red swollen area was quite larger, and it was very, very sensitive to the touch. That being said, we discontinued Enbrel, but at the same time, Enbrel was starting to not work so well for me. So in the early stages, I noticed that I could go to the grocery store and walk around the grocery store for about 30 to 45 minutes and bring the groceries home and put them away, and I was perfectly fine. Then as the disease started to progress, I needed to use my cane more often, and so it got to the point where I was okay at the grocery store for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then I would need my cane. And I learned that the hard way because I wasn't bringing my cane with me everywhere, but now I know to take my cane everywhere I go, because I may or may not need it. If I need it, it's there, because otherwise I'm going to be limping and hobbling around. So what causes me to use the cane is that the longer I walk, the more pain I have in my hip, my knee, and my ankle. And it's more pronounced on the left side. When we were on spring break and we were doing an extended period of walking, it was more in my hip and my knee that was causing me discomfort. Because we were going to be doing long, prolonged walking, which was different than my grocery store trips, which would be like 30 to 45 minutes, I actually needed a wheelchair for the first time in my life. I was kind of expecting it because, I just knew that this condition can cause mobility issues. I was mentally prepared for it, but then when you actually do it, it's a different, situation. On the positive side, it made my entire experience while we were on our trip just radically different, because when I'm sitting in a chair, we can go at a faster pace. So my family's not having to slow down for me. I'm also not in as much pain because I'm not using my joints. So that's nice. I still have some discomfort, but it's not like it is when I'm walking. And then also I wasn't as fatigued, because as you're walking and you're in pain, it just wears you out so fast. It just happens. And so then I just feel so tired. So being in the wheelchair was very positive for me. I know that sounds crazy. There is still part of me that is like, I'm 41, I'm almost 42, and to be in a wheelchair is just a very humbling experience. It just is. But I was very thankful for it, again, because We could go faster. I was in less pain and less fatigued. I mean, that's just fantastic. So I'm thankful for the mobility devices that are available for me. Now I know to bring my cane everywhere I go. So I may or may not need it. I may need it the whole time. I may need it maybe 5 or 10 minutes after I get started and wherever I am. So my cane become, kind of like my purse. It's an accessory. After the Enbrel injection stopped working and then I was needing a wheelchair, it was obvious that with the site reaction and needing a wheelchair, Enbrel wasn't working very well for me. Then we had to discontinue that, and I had to wait again another 2 to 3 weeks for insurance to approve the next treatment. And so the treatment that I just started I started it like 2 weeks ago, was Humira. And so far so good. I haven't had any site reactions with Humira. Humira is also a self-injector, and it's given every 2 weeks. Once I took it, I could feel a difference in my overall symptoms within about 24 hours. And what I mean about symptoms is with rheumatoid arthritis, it's not just the joints, it's like systemic throughout the whole body. So I feel body aches through my body. I feel very fatigued. I have fevers because it's the immune system is confused. So what I mean when I feel a difference is I feel it hitting that area where I feel like I'm coming out of the woods and I'm not so sick. I don't feel so sick. And then it starts to help with the joint pain. In addition, because everyone's journey is so different, I had a Baker cyst developed very early on. It was at the end of December. And after I had had it for like 3 months, it just was really a big challenge for my mobility. And so when I saw my doctor a couple of weeks ago, I asked her if we could do something for the Baker cyst. She decided to do a cortisone shot. Immediately, my joint was much more stiff and it was very hard to even bend it. And I really relied on my cane right after. But then after a couple days, the stiffness went away and I could gradually see a difference. And it took about a week and I could use my cane less and less often. I'm very, very thankful for the cortisone shot. It was a little unpleasant receiving it, but the benefits have been excellent. With the cortisone shot and on the new treatment of Humira, I'm starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And also with RA, it's like a roller coaster. So it's not like I'm going to find the miracle treatment and then get better, go into remission, and then I'm good to go. Like, that's the hope, but that's not always the case. Like, I could have remission, but it's not forever. So at some point, I know I may have to change treatments, and that's okay. I may stay on Humira for 20 years, and it could be fantastic. I'm just optimistic either way. I'm still going to be thankful for my mobility devices if I need it, the wheelchair or the cane. It just is what it is. I can still live my life. I can still go and do things, so that's great. Another thing that has happened because I started using the wheelchair, that it became apparent that I needed a handicap placard and I needed a handicap parking spot. So I do have one of those now. And again, it feels so funny, at my age to need something like that, because there is a thing called ableism where, you look upon someone and they have an invisible illness and you assume that they are an able-bodied person and that they don't need a handicap spot. Probably for the most part, I look like a completely abled person and I don't need a handicap spot. But in reality, I do, and it's invisible. So that's also another interesting factor to be kind of going through and accepting and knowing that that's my new reality. Again, I am thankful for the tools that I have in my toolbox to assist me in my day-to-day life. I'm very thankful for the treatments that I've had so far because I have felt what it's like when you're not on a treatment and then when you are. It's like a radical difference. I'm going to be continuing to make videos and just be patient with me because my journey, like I said, has been an up and down roller coaster, and some days or some moments are better than others, and I just don't have sometimes the capacity or the energy to continue making videos like I did in the past because I am a video editor, and so sometimes I'm able to make videos faster and more frequent than most. It's definitely been a different pace lately. So I still want to continue to share about my journey and share about different tools that I have found to make this a little bit easier and just to keep the conversation going. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here and caring about my journey. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.